Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my what you should watch if you love romantasy, which is fantasy romance. Um, I I read a lot of romantasy, and even sometimes against my will, because it's not all romantasy is not all created equal. But I will say I found it really hard to find really good romantasy in Western media. So my recommendation in this video is going to be Chinese dramas. There is romantasy. It's more urban fantasy and K-dramas, I find. And then same for like Thai dramas or Japanese dramas. I have watched a lot of those, even Turkish dramas. So I'm fine to do more videos on those topics, but for romantasy, I felt like Chinese dramas were it. They have the most beautiful costumes, the most elaborate sets, like they go all in on the, fantasy romance. So I will say, for me, Western media is just not cutting it in this area. I feel like back when I was younger, we had more options as far as like there was like Labyrinth and The Neverending Story, and there was this good balance of like a bit of darkness with these fairy tales, and I think that's what's necessary. But now it's mainly, if you think of like, a fantasy thing, it's going to be superheroes or Marvel or like even I just am not about it. Like, I just don't feel like there's that many good options, even with like Shadow and Bone being adapted. I didn't gravitate towards it. So I want something that's going to be, that really strong romance, but also have really good fantasy elements and a really, really interesting story. So here are my recommendations. And if you have any more, of course, these are just 5, because I would be here all day. I have watched a lot of C-dramas, and there is something for everybody. There are, school stories, like high school romance. There is mafia. There is like mafia, like Wattpad, Wattpad level mafia. Like I can give those recommendations, but also, you have everything, fantasy, you have thrillers, like really, really good. And K-dramas, C-dramas, J-dramas, Thai dramas, Turkish dramas, all of them have like something really fun to offer. So if you want those recommendations, let me know. Let's talk C-dramas. The first one I'm going to recommend is a very popular, well-known C-drama, Love Between Fairy and Devil. This is just ignore my pronunciation. I am doing my best here. I apologize now. Esther Yu and Dylan Wong are the 2 stars. And this is really good. It has a lot of comedy in the beginning because of the setup being that there is a like demon, I think he's called like the Moon Supreme, but he's like basically like, and it's not demon like angels and demons like in Western culture, it's different in Eastern. So that's not like, get that out of your head. But he's like basically like this big bad guy. And he's held captive, and the main girl is a orchid spirit / fairy, and she unintentionally kind of like frees him, and in that process there is a body swap element. So they have to figure out how to deal with the body swap, and it is really funny. They're both good actors. I really like the even the side characters are super good in this. But I will say, if this is your first C-drama, Esther Yu has a very distinctive voice that can sound like she is putting on a young, kind of babyish voice. That is, I believe, her actual voice. I don't think that that's put on. I've heard her in like interviews and stuff, and I think that's just how she talks. But it can be a bit jarring if you're not used to it. I think she's adorable, but just be warned. So this one, yeah, has dragons, magic, the body swap element, and it is really good. It does balance out like that humor in the beginning, and then, kind of gets darker and darker. And I will say that that balance of like, starting off lighthearted and being able to progressively get to like a darker, point is something that's really good about dramas. Like even C-dramas, K-dramas, like they're much better at balancing that, I feel, than Western dramas, because they can get very dark, but it doesn't just toss you in. You get like, it's gradual. And the only thing I will say about this one was I will maintain with all of the ones that start off with like, they're in the immortal realm, and then, they have to go to the human realm. This happens a lot in C-dramas. The time in the human realm is always the worst. I'm always bored. I'm like, there's a reason that humans don't want to be in the human realm. Like, can we get back to the main event? Like, could get back to the other realm, because the human realm is boring. That's my hot take right there. The next one that I'm going to talk about, this is like, I've been watching these over the last 4 years. So like I said, this is just some that came to mind for Romantasy. The Legend of Fuyao, and I hope I'm saying that right. Ethan Juan, I have no idea how he would say that, but that's how it would be said here, is the main male lead. And then Young Mi is the main female lead. And this one is definitely starts off not even super lighthearted, but on a more lighthearted note. She's kind of trying to prove herself. She's a very low level, like she's an orphan. She's not got any kind of like rank, and so nobody like pays any attention to her. But she is in a relationship with another like very high ranking guy who she's like, I'm gonna enter this contest to kind of prove that I can be with him. Obviously we know that's not gonna happen because we know he's not the main male lead, but the male lead shows up for this and he is flirty. He is just, I mean, he is swoon worthy. He has an amazing smile. He is charismatic, like from day one, you're like, and he's so flirtatious with the female lead. I feel like it's played so well of, is this his feelings or is it manipulation? And he does that part amazing. Like her response to it is very good. Like she's always like, oh, like, what are you doing? But he is so confident. Like you just can't tell. You're like, is he using her? Is he in love with her? Their chemistry was very, very good. I will say this does get quite dark later on. If you do not, want to watch that more dark, there is even some assaults that, could be triggering. So just know that going into this one. But I will say this is really good. And really like beautiful sets, like, beautiful costumes. It's a very like visually stunning, much like Love Between Fairy and Devil, same thing. So the next one I'm going to talk about is Back from the Brink. Okay, so Neo Hao, I don't think that's right. He's the main male lead. The main female is Zhao Yi. I'm doing my best here, folks. And she is, they're both really good, but he is very popular. And they're good actors. He is a dragon in this, like a dragon, like demon, like not full dragon, but he's human, but yeah, like dragon powers. And in the beginning he gets betrayed and his body is kind of like broken apart, and then she gets a piece of it when it like basically breaks off and flies off. And it's protecting her heart. And she, I believe, would die without it. If I'm remembering correctly. It's been a little bit since I watched this one, but I will say this one had, it's definitely like a slow burn romance. There was a bit of a love triangle, but it was really beautiful, really like compelling characters. And there is a death scene. I will not say whose, it doesn't matter who, but I cried, and I never cry. Like this was an emotional scene. And I think this one is really good. I will say, like, I'm underlining that this is slow burn. If you are not used to watching dramas, there's not going to be big makeout sessions most of the time. I will say there are exceptions, but it's going to be definitely a fade to black situation if there's any like, we're moving this into the bedroom. And sometimes there is like one kiss in the whole drama. The fact that they can have such amazing chemistry, is mainly down to looks, like a light touch here and there. Like it's a very, like, that's why I feel like these are better, because they have to really work at that chemistry element. You can't just toss these people into bed, which I think is dumb anyway, but it's definitely not what I'm not used to if you're watching like a lot of American television. So yeah, I highly recommend that one. And it is, worth watching. The next one I watched a long time ago, this was probably my third or fourth drama that I watched, and it is The Wolf. And it is starring Darren Wong and Li Xin. And it is really like, it was one that I started watching and I was like, I don't know. And I kept saying, I don't know, but it was like one that I couldn't look away from. So it's this young girl who, it starts off and she goes in the woods and finds this boy that was raised by wolves, hence the title, The Wolf. And she has this really like intense close friendship with him. and she wants to kind of bring him back into society, but of course, you know, society is not going to be kind to him, and they end up being separated, and he thinks all, like, as he grows up, he thinks she betrayed him, that she basically like told people where he was, and then he was hurt, and that's not what happened. But this is going to be a misunderstanding drama, and if you watch dramas, you know what I'm saying. There will be many, many misunderstandings, and if that's not something you like, maybe this isn't for you. But I will say the leads had good chemistry, and I knew where this was going. If you watch it, you'll have to let me know what you think, but this is definitely one that was like, I mean, there's like betrayal after betrayal on both sides, everyone, and it's just like, you keep kind of just rooting for this couple, but you know, like, it's so hard. Like, it's just, how could this ever work out? And they're so, like, the girl is so sweet and so innocent to start off, and even he starts off very innocent, and then it's like, it gets very, very dark later on. But really good, like, good acting. I like the sets. Everything is very, like, you know, well done. And yeah, that would be one I would definitely recommend if you haven't watched it. The last one I'm going to talk about is one I have seen so many times, because this was like probably the first C-drama. It might be the actual first. It's been like 4 years, but it's hard to remember that. Like, this was one of the first, and it's Love Better Than Immortality. And this was so like impactful to me, because this has one of my absolute favorite tropes, which is the villain as one of the like love interests. This is a love triangle. Yes, it can be annoying, but like, I was so happy that they made the villain, and he is truly a morally gray character. Not how morally gray is usually presented, as like, he's just evil. He really does believe that what he's doing is right, but he will do a lot of bad things to get to this right outcome. And I love that. I was so happy. Like, I'm like, this is perfect. This is everything I want in like a fantasy. It starts off with our main character, Sao Lucy. She is the main character, and then Lee Hong-yi is the one of the main male leads, and then the other one is, I'm not even gonna try and say this one. It's this guy. But this is the, you know, the love triangle. She is from the future. Like, in the future, everybody can live forever, but she decides that that's not what she wants. So she puts her consciousness into this like simulation that allows her for the chance to find her true love. And this was what killed me, as I was like, it reminded me so much of this girl's obsession with like love. Like, love is so important. I just want love. True love is everything. And Zhao Lucy's character in this is that character. She is, I want love. I want true love. Love is everything. If I can just find my true love, everything will be perfect. We're going to just, you know, we're going to live together, and everything is going to be magical, and I'm going to get my happily ever after. And, you know, that's what I'm here for. So, of course, as soon as she gets put into this, you know, world, this fantasy world, everything starts going wrong. There's mistaken identity. There's, you know, she's torn between these two guys, and there's a lot of issues there. There's fantasy, like, you know, it's like there's magic, and a lot of, you know, stuff that she doesn't understand coming into this. She's just like, I'm here for love. She's adorable. This is definitely one that was, you know, it's like, didn't probably have a big budget, but I really like it. And it comes down to the chemistry between the leads, I will say. And this girl, she has very good chemistry with her. I've seen her in other dramas, never been disappointed by her. She plays the comedic parts very well. She plays like the very silly, innocent, like, you know, I just got dropped into this fantasy world character very well. But then as the story progresses, she does grow. I will say, I am totally biased towards this drama because it was one of the first I watched, and I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. I was like, this is my fantasy romance dream come true. And I won't give any spoilers, but like I said, absolutely love this one. Definitely check it out if you haven't. I mean, it does have like that martial arts that I will say, if you are not used to it, one of the first, like, I guess, Chinese dramas, or one that's, you know, has a lot of Chinese actors. I'm assuming it was made in China, but it might have been Western production, is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which had that like flying style of fighting. That's just going to be in almost every C-drama. Where they're kind of flying through the air. There's lots of spins and there's lots like, it's like almost a, you know, dance choreography. And so yeah, if you're like in the fight scenes, that's how it's going to be. You know, jumping and moving through the trees, and that's just kind of like the abilities that they have if they have martial arts. But yeah, those are my recommendations for C-dramas that are romantasy. And if you're looking for something to watch that is, you know, clean, it's got, you know, that fantasy element, really interesting stories, really like beautiful characters. I will say that's one thing with C-dramas, the men are beautiful, the women are beautiful, they're very beautiful. And they all have like, you know, especially if they're gonna play like kings and queens and stuff, they look very regal, the costumes are amazing, everything is very well done. So let me know if you've watched any of those, if you have recommendations, if you would like to hear recommendations for K-dramas, Japanese dramas, Turkish dramas, I'm happy to do that. I am still going to be doing mainly book reviews on this channel. I am on the 3rd book in the Lord Peter Wimsey series and loving it. But yeah, and I am currently watching The Prisoner of Beauty. That's my current C-drama, I'll put it there. So let me know what you want me to discuss next as far as dramas, or if there's a, you know, particular romantasy book that I should be checking out, or one that you feel relates well to these C-dramas. That would always be good to know. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and this is going to be something I'm going to do every now and then, is throw in a drama recommendation to my channel. I have changed my Instagram handle to Rach Reviews Books and Drama, because that is what I'm doing more often. I feel like that's kind of my interests are there. I follow a lot of dramas. I watch a lot of stuff. I follow fan accounts. Like, that's my interest. So I don't want to leave that out of my books, you know, my book channel and my Bookstagram and all that. So yeah, I'm going to be incorporating those, and I appreciate you guys watching so much. Let me know what you're reading, what you're watching in the comments, and I'll talk to you soon.